Hello everyone, welcome. This is SharePoint Power Hour. This is a weekly show that we do every Wednesday at 11 Central, and I am Laura Rogers. What is SharePoint Power Hour? Well, it is hosted by Rackspace Hosting, and this is our SharePoint team of consultants here at Rackspace, and what we do is Power Hour is about business solutions. It's about things that you can do in SharePoint without being a programmer or without being a hardcore server admin. So tons of out of the box things that you can do. We've covered all kinds of topics. I think this is like our 59th Power Hour or something like that. We've got all kinds of topics. They're all recorded. They're in YouTube on our SharePoint RAX channel. And you can always flip through those. We've done things like a lot of BI topics, user adoption, forms, workflows, content organizer rules, just all kinds of neat little cool things you can do in SharePoint. And Office 365 as well, because all this out-of-the-box stuff applies to Office 365. They haven't diverged paths too far, at least as of yet. So, and what I'm going to teach today applies to both as well. Today's topic is going to be the out-of-the-box collect signatures workflow, which actually applies to all versions of SharePoint and Office 365. This has been around since SharePoint 2007, so unless any of you watching, you're still in SharePoint 2003, but you probably have other problems if that's the case, right? Okay, so we're going to go around the room and have everybody introduce themselves, and we're going to go, and I'll go ahead and go into my demo. And also, just in the meantime, we have this little, just while you're watching, we have, if you're watching on YouTube live, there is a little yellow link in the live YouTube video that will take you over to the Google Hangout. And once you get over to the Google Hangout, then it gives you the ability to open the little Q&A app and ask questions, and it has a little app, the Showcase app as well, which is where we share links as we're doing these demos. So I've already put an item in the Showcase app. It looks like a little yellow price tag, and I put the link to Microsoft's really good documentation, and I'm not being sarcastic, about the out-of-the-box collect signature workflows. So, and then just feel free, just as we're going, just anytime we're doing this, use the little Q&A app in the Google Hangout to ask us questions, and that's why we do it live, so we can have it be a nice interactive session. All right, so let's go ahead and go down. Let's see, Kevin, then Ryan, then Joelle, then Stephen, then Tanya, then Tavis. And then I'll get to my demo. All right, everybody.
Hi, I'm Kevin Hughes, SharePoint architect on Laura's team. I haven't been at Rackspace very long, but I've got a long line of history with SharePoint, and here to help you if I can.
All right, hi everybody. I'm Ryan Keller. I am the branding guy on the services team here for SharePoint at Rackspace. I've been working with SharePoint for let's see, since I believe the year 2007, starting with the version 2003, worked with 2007, 2010, now 2013. I've been specialized in SharePoint branding now for about 3.5, 4 years or so, and that's kind of what I do, make SharePoint not look like SharePoint.
Who's next? Me? Okay, I didn't hear the order. I don't see the same order as you, Laura, so I didn't hear what you said. Sorry about that. All right, my name is Joelle Farley. If you've watched Power Hour, you've probably seen my face before. I am also on Laura's team, and I specialize a lot in the out-of-the-box features, same stuff that you'll see Laura talk about quite often. And I also work a lot with planning and design, information architecture, taxonomy, and governance as well. And I'm looking forward to the session.
Stephen. You're muted.
Oh, I thought I was muted the other way. I'm Stephen Wilson, and I am a SharePoint infrastructure consultant here at Rackspace. I work in the business solutions team. I also do some of the initial work with customers, setting up basics like taxonomy, getting their search working right, helping with some of the basics of getting going in SharePoint for the first time. And I'm using a new headset today, so I don't know how to use my mute button yet.
Tanya, you there?
Yes, I just had myself muted.
Okay.
Tanya Kaiser here. So I am new to Laura's team as well, similar to Kevin, and fairly new to SharePoint. A Racker for 2 years. I started using SharePoint when I came to Rackspace and just figured that all the things that it could do was kind of a great place to be. So I'm a little different from everyone on Laura's team. I work with internal customers, so I actually work with our internal SharePoint environment here at Rackspace, and I'm a consultant to Rackers. I'm looking forward to the session.
I'm Tavis Lovell, and actually this is our Halloween episode, right?
Oh, it is. And you are, what are you, a graduate or a wizard?
I'm dressed up.
All right, I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna get.
So yeah, I think everybody should probably put some stuff on. So yeah, I'm the BI dev on the team and deal with a lot of things relating to reporting and dashboarding inside of SharePoint and SQL Server. And I've been with Rackspace about 2 years. I think you're on mute, Laura.
Sorry, too many buttons to click all at once. The little, you know, Google effects and unmuting people and everything. Okay, so again, I'm Laura Rogers. I'm a Microsoft MVP. Oh, and I'm not going to be at Power Hour next week because I'll be at the MVP Summit in Seattle. So I think one of you is going to be doing some other demo. I like your background, Joelle. That's nice. It's not necessarily very Halloween-y, though, but
Yeah.
that looks cool, though. It looks very relaxing. Okay, cool. So I'll go ahead and talk about what I'm going to be doing today. There is an out-of-the-box workflow in SharePoint called the Collect Signatures workflow, and it works in conjunction with, it uses the Office integration with Microsoft Office products. So it's highly integrated, and you need to be using like Word documents or Excel documents or actual Office files with the Collect Signatures workflow, and not necessarily, it's not going to work on like a PDF file or something like that. This is a functionality that exists in the Microsoft Office products. So first I'm going to do a demo of a working, running the actual workflow, and then I'll go ahead and show you from scratch how I put it together. So I'm going to go ahead and get this over here, get all situated here, and sharing the correct screen. And share. Okay, there's my, maximize that. So this is my little test company policies. And again, you guys use the little Q&A app to ask questions as I go if you want. All right, so I have a document library where I'm putting company policies, so I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to put a new company policy in this library. And then some of the stuff you'll see in this company policy is quick parts, which is something we actually did a whole different Power Hour where we demonstrated what quick parts are, but I'm making use of those here in this little demo, just company policy that I'm doing. So I'm going to call this the party policy. And let's see, I probably don't have a category in here called party. There we go, that's close enough. Patents. Okay, so with the quick parts, and that was just one of those concepts, again, that we covered in another one, it actually puts the information that you filled in the metadata inside of the document. So I filled in my metadata, and I'm like typing stuff, so this would be like my company policy. This is stuff about the party policy. And then once you have all your files in your library, then you want to, have people sign them and approve them. So party policy. And I love the fact that the enterprise keywords are right here in the Save As screen. By the way, I know that I mentioned that before, but huge for user adoption if you have your enterprise keywords turned on in your library. So I could say like party or something like that. All right, so I saved and closed my file, and then I set this workflow up so that I have to manually start it. And again, I'll show you how I set all that up after I do the demo. So here's my party policy. I'm going to go to workflows here, and I can see my policy signatures workflow. I'll go ahead and start that. I need to say who needs to do the signatures, so I'll say me and Joelle. And so you just basically put people in the order that they need to go. This is whatever order you type them in, that's what time it'll go to them. In this case, it's going to be serial. So then I start it, and then I don't have email turned on. I don't have email set up in my virtual environment. I don't have like a whole Exchange VM in here or anything like that. But you will get an email when you get, just like any other workflow, when you get a task assigned to you, these people are going to be getting emails. So the email is going to, so I'll go ahead and click on the little workflow status thing. The email is going to take you to that document. So this is kind of, actually the little hyperlink that I sent you guys, that's in the little showcase thing, it actually has screenshots in here of what the email is going to look like, etc. So it's going to have, good grief, this is very long and detailed. I love this document, by the way. I'm just looking for the part with the email real quick. Wow. Alrighty, I saw it in here. Oh my goodness. Here it is. Here's like, this is like what it would look like. The email, it's going to send you a link. Okay, here it is. The task notification email right here. So it says open this task, or they can go straight to just review. So you're going to want your people to click to go review the document to sign it, because they're actually going to be signing the document. So let me go ahead and go, I'll just go open the task, but then I'm just going to go open the document from in here. And then this is what it would look like to them. So once they open a document, it says, this document requires your signature. Isn't that cool? You don't want to click Edit Document, because the way the signatures work is that you actually have, it has to stay in read-only mode when we're signing it, because if we edit the document, it will invalidate our signatures. So I'm going to go open this task, and then I'll click the Sign button. And then I got an error. It's awesome. Maybe I already signed this one when I was testing it a few minutes ago, but it worked fine. Oh, good grief. That's why I did this whole run-through where I tested it ahead of time. I'm going to go edit my document real quick. See, I inserted these signatures in here, and I'll just show you kind of how that works real quick. Just on the Insert tab, and this might be something you may have noticed or not noticed before, that it's just always been here in Office. It's in Word and Excel. I don't think it's in PowerPoint, but I know it's definitely in Word and Excel. And InfoPath even has a sort of signature type thing that you can do that's kind of crappy, but that's how you insert these into the file. And then, say like this is the approval section. And then this is where you're inserting the signatures into the document. Let me like save some space here so they both show there. So I insert them in there. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can save this and then go out of edit mode. And then I'm going to go open this from inside the library, because I've actually, and that's good for you guys to know, that I've actually seen different behavior in here depending on whether I open it from inside the library or from what link I open it from. I've also seen that if someone goes into just the task list, just directly into the task list to go to try and click sign like that. See, I opened it differently. So before, when I opened it and I got the error, I had opened the task and then I clicked the hyperlink in the task to open the document. And then when I tried to sign in, I got an error. But then when I opened up, just went straight to the library and just opened the file just like any other time I would open a file. And then I opened the task and then I clicked the sign button and then it works fine. So this is one of those things that every time I demo this collect signature workflow, I'm sure to bring all these little things up because it's really cool the way it works and it functions. But there are just some little weird things here and there, like how people get to the task or how people get to the document, that you'll get different behaviors. So it's kind of, if you're going to actually implement something like this, some of this is going to be just a training thing for people. So also what I was going to say is one time I tried this, I clicked straight into the task instead of opening the document, and it allowed me to go in the task to click the sign button as if I had signed the document. And I never even opened the document. So again, another one of those weird things. All right, so when people are signing the document, I can either just type a name here, or I can actually have an image on my computer that I can insert. Like I have scanned in a picture of my signature. I can do that. So I inserted a JPEG of my own signature, and it also captures who I'm logged into my computer as. So this is actually my login name on my computer, and then I can say commitment type, approve this document. This little commitment type thing appears to be new in 2013. I don't recall ever seeing that before. And then I'm allowing them to type a comment here, my comment. And then I can even, the signer can even type more information about themselves. And they can type their address and all kinds of stuff if they want to. I'm going to click sign. And then your signature, this is important, your signature has been successfully saved with this document. If the document is changed, your signature will become invalid. All right, so I'll click OK. So now I've signed the document. So now you can see my signature in there. But I've got one more person in the workflow that is going to need to sign the document. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And I'm going to pretend that I'm Joelle. And I'm going to go open that same file. And notice that, see, it says this document needs to be signed. So when I was logged in as me and the task was assigned to me to sign it, it had a nice little pretty notification saying this document's waiting for your signature. So it knew who I was compared to like who, who has the tasks assigned to them. So I can go in here and I can say view. If I click view signatures, it's going to pull up this cool little pane over here on the right, the signature pane. So it's the signature that's already in there is mine, and the one that it's waiting for is Joelle, who's the HR vice president. Did you know that, Joelle? And so then Joelle's going to open this up and sign it. So I can right-click and just sign it like that. So I didn't open it from her task, though. So again, that's going to be an interesting thing to see, kind of how it ends up looking when you do that. All right, so she doesn't have to have an image. She can just type her name. But it's going to know who I am because of who I'm logged into my computer as. So I can't fake this. It's got this little change button, and it's got like some kind of other weird, like if I picked one of these, it said like it didn't have a valid certificate and stuff like that. I think that this one down here at the bottom, I'd have to be on the VPN for it to validate that. But I'm not sure what the Zoom thing is. That's a little weird. It has to do with my Windows phone. But this one that has whatever my login name is on the computer, that one has always worked for me whenever I've demoed this. So, but that's who it's going to say signed it, even though I'm typing her name in there, like I'm pretending like I'm faking it. So again, same message about it being signed and saved with the document. So now I can see it's got 2 valid signatures on it, and I can go ahead and close it. And then let's go see, since I kind of faked it and I went in there and I was not logged in as Joelle, to go, click, to open my task and then to click the sign button like I did when it was assigned to me, then now I have 2 separate things I have to do. But just know that if SharePoint sees that I'm logged into SharePoint as the same person that has that task assigned to them, because it's using my SharePoint authentication inside of Word, then it will prompt them with that little yellow bar at the top that says this, basically like this document is waiting for your signature, and the button to go open the task and the button to sign it. So it's a lot smoother when you are logged in as the correct person. Does that make sense? Okay. So now it has been completed, so let's go look at what the document looks like now. So watch this. When I go open my party policy, it is, this document contains valid signatures, so I could go view the signatures again if I want. But watch this. When I click the little file and I go to this backstage view, this document has been signed and marked as final. It should not be edited. If anyone tampers with this document, the signatures will become invalid. And it says this document has been marked as final to discourage editing. Isn't that cool? So it automatically did all that stuff after everybody finished signing it. And then if I go and try and edit document, watch this. Editing will remove the signatures in this document. Do you want to continue? So if I edited it, it would take the signatures out, and then they would have to, approve it all over again. So that way you're definitely not going to have, like, if somebody signs something, whatever the document looked at right then, that's what they're signing. And you don't go and hit edit document and then sign it. You're always in read-only mode when you're signing it. Cool. All right. So that's what the interface looks like when you're running the workflow. So I'll go ahead and show you how I set that up. Okay. So I'm going to do a new I'm just going to do a new library. And I'm going to do I'm just going to go all out, and since I've got like half an hour longer, I'm going to do a full new content type and everything. That way I can just do the whole thing from scratch. All right, so I'm going to do a new library. I'm going to say I need my operations team. They need to have a policies library or something like that. Okay, so they already have policies. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to do a new content type, and I'm just going to put it in this existing library. Okay, so my new content type is going to have this template that I'm going to put in it, and that template is I'm just going to put the signature spots in there so that every time somebody creates a new file in that library, it's just going to have them. So let me go ahead and just show you how you put the signatures in the file real quick. So I'll go into my virtual machine here, and I have just start with a Word document. So I've got a Word document that's got, it's just this. That's all it is just my policy information. It doesn't have anything special or magical. It's just, so got some pretty colors and some words in it. There's nothing. It's not in a library yet or anything. It's not connected to anything. So what I need to do is wherever I want to put the signatures, I can put them. I'm going to insert them. So say approvals. All right, so any document I have, and again, it's not even in SharePoint yet, I can go to, let me maximize this, can go to Insert, and I can choose Signature Line. So this is how you set it up. So if you're going to have a specific person, that is, so whatever this first signer, whatever their name is, if it's always that same person's name, you can actually type that person's name is as a suggested signer, like this needs to be John Doe because he is the policy, he's always the policy approver or something like that. Or if you just have, like, if they're going to be the type, it's going to be the title. So I'll just say policy owner. whoever's the owner of that particular policy is going to be the one that's going to sign it. And then you could put their email address if you wanted to. You don't have to, though. Those aren't required. And then you give them instructions. Before signing this document, verify that the content you're signing is correct. So you can put whatever message you want to in here to explain to them what they need to do. And then you can allow them to add comments if you want to. So that one signature, that first signature I did where I typed a comment in there, that's because I had allowed comments in the signature when I set it up. All right, so I went ahead and inserted a signature, just stuck it down here. So I can just go insert another one if I want to. And I'll just say manager and not do comments, and then I'll just say like this next one's going to be the VP or something. There. And then, so now that I've inserted them, that's going to be where I would run the collect signatures workflow. I'd put this in SharePoint and run the collect signatures workflow on it. So the only reason, so I'm going to do this as a content type, but the only reason I'm doing this as a content type is because in this example where we have company policies, we want to say every time somebody uses the company policy template, we always want this policy to go through the signature process. So we just want the policies to be part of the template, the content type that's, you know, for that document library. So again, you don't have to do this in a content type. All right, so I've got my signature spots in there. I'm going to go ahead and insert a couple of quick parts in here too, just for the heck of it. So I'll put the policy name in here, the title, the department. Oh, so I can't put, there are some properties that are available that are just generic to just all Word documents, but I have not put this policy in SharePoint yet. So there aren't any fields in here that have anything to do with any metadata in SharePoint. So that's why I have a limited amount of things here. Okay, so that's why, you know, I'm able to put the title of the document, but it doesn't have, if this file had been already uploaded to a library, I'd have a bunch of anyway, we demoed all that stuff about quick parts in that other demo. I'm not going to go too much into the weeds on that one, but that's where those would come from. All right, so I'll just save this. Again, this is just on my desktop. And then I'm going to create a content type. So I am in operations. I'll just go create it there. Probably in the real world, if you're doing company policies and you would want everybody in the company be using the same content type, you might want to do it at the root of your site collection or even in a content type hub. I am just doing it in this one site. So just think about what scope where you would normally want to create your content type. All right. Let's see. There, let's call it policy demo. Document content type, document. And then let's call it a test. All right, here's the trick for a content type if you want it to have a certain template associated with it. I go to advanced settings and I upload it in here. Because remember, everything that I've done so far in Word has just been on my desktop. And that was actually on my desktop in my virtual machine. So I need to just go to this same screen that I'm on over my virtual machine. Okay. There it is. Okay, so I'll go upload that. Sorry, I don't want to make that too confusing. Okay, this is the one I just edited. Yeah, that one. Okay, so now I've got this content type called policy demo. So now I can go to any library that I have and I can add that content type. So I can go to my library settings. And I already have turned on the ability to manage content type, so I'll go add from existing. And I put that in my little test group there. Okay, so now we've got this policy demo content type is the one that we would want to use to be able to use that template. So I can go like this. I can just say policy demo as I'm creating my new file. The cool thing about the content type is if you want to edit this template, you would do it in one place. You would do it at the content type level and just update the template in there. So now I can see that I have all my signatures in there. This is a template I created, but I haven't added the workflow to the library yet. So I would want to be able to, now people can still open that document up and just sign it. They can still do that, but so the whole purpose of the workflow is for it to send them the notification, tasks, and all that fun stuff. So how do I add the workflow? I go to the library, whatever library I want to do this in, and I can go directly to my workflow settings here, or I can just go to library settings and go to workflow settings like that. And now this is a cool thing that you can do is you can pick, if you have multiple content types, you can pick just a specific content type for each separate workflow. So what if, what if I don't want to run this workflow on things that are of other content types in this library? I only want it to run if this is the content type that was used. So I have that option. If I choose this list, I'll be able to run that workflow on anything in the list. But if I choose a specific one, then I'll know that they're using that content type. Okay, so I'll say add a workflow, and then here's where I just choose, so collect signatures. It's a SharePoint 2010. All the out-of-the-box workflows really are old residual 2010 ones. They haven't changed it much, and it works perfectly fine. Again, this is 2013, but it works perfectly fine in 2010 or 2013. So I can call this policy signatures. Now, do I want to automatically run this when people create a new item, or automatically run it when they change an existing item? So I can pick those things if I want to. So I'll go ahead and say either they can manually start it, or when I put new policies in here, it will start. That will start it. Now, whenever you're doing any of these out-of-the-box workflows, if you ever set it to automatically start when a file is added or updated, anytime it's set to automatically start when you're not manually interacting with it, you need to have people's names in here in your workflow settings, because if there are no names in here that you've placed in here by default, then once it automatically starts, it's not going to prompt anybody to put any names in here. So that's when I need to go ahead and do that. So I'll put Laura. Shane Todd. All right, and then I can CC people, of course. All right, so now it's a pretty simple workflow. So now I've added it to my library, specifically to that content type. And let's go see. I wonder if I could do at the content type level, if I could do that. I'm going to go back up to my content type here under my site content types. Let's see if I could just add it there. Ooh, see, that might be what you'd want to do. So think about that, and you guys feel free to ask me questions as I go. Think about that possibility. So I could create a company policy content type. I could put it at the root, level of the site collection or wherever, make it available to be used anywhere in the site collection, and then right there in the site settings, in the content type itself, I could associate this workflow with it. So wherever people use that content type, the workflow would follow it and it would stay with it. So that's pretty cool. So you could do that right there in the content type itself for those out-of-the-box workflows. And also just FYI, just any like reusable workflows that you created, that you're going to have the ability, if you wanted to create your own workflow and do it on the content type level. All right, so that's good to know, right? Pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to go back into my library, and I've added the workflow, and I'll go ahead and put a new file in here and watch it automatically run the workflow. So I'll do a new policy demo. And I'll say, go ahead and give it a title. I'm not very creative with my policy. If I ever don't have that document information panel and I want to see it, I can go to properties and say show document panel. See, I don't have a bunch of metadata in this library though, so I really just see the title. Okay, so here is, so there are my signatures in there. So I can, you used to, I don't know if you guys noticed this in previous versions of SharePoint and Office, but you used to have workflows that would show right in here. Does that ring a bell? Does any of you guys remember seeing that? I'm not seeing that at all in 2013, like in Office 2013. I just don't. Just doesn't. Workflows don't show in here. Just a little fun fact. But so I have to actually start the workflow from the library level. So I'm just going to say, I'll go ahead and save that. Sure. I'll call it. So I'm putting it in the library, calling it fun cool policy or something like that. Oh, no, cool fun policy. So just putting this in the library is going to kick off the workflow, but if I wanted to manually start the workflow, I would have to do it from the library, not from inside of the document. Okay, so now I've put a file in the library, and where is it? Let's see. Cool fun policy. All right. So it didn't. So my content type. So some of the other content types in here actually had metadata associated with them, as you can see there. My new content type didn't have any of that, which is fine because I'm not demoing the quick parts and all the metadata and site columns in this demo. But that's why it's got some of this weird stuff shown in this column. All right. So it should have automatically started the workflow. Let me refresh this again because I set it up to automatically run. So let me go double check that. So go to library settings. If it didn't start, I totally would not be surprised. And go to policy demo. So it says policy signatures is on there, and it says creating a new item will start this workflow. But I created a new item. Come on, SharePoint. All right. So one thing I can double check is I wanted to make sure that it would only run that workflow on things of that particular content type. So see, there's my content type, policy demo, and it has not run. So I'm going to go ahead and manually trigger it. I have no idea. Oh, you know what? Look at that. Anybody know why it didn't automatically run? It's a hint up here. You'll see that. I do that all the time. Do you guys do that all the time? Steve, I see Steven nodding. If you're logged in as system account, workflows are not automatically going to run. So see, I'm in my VM and I'm logged in like to the server and I'm logged in as system account. So that's what happened. So let me go back. Now I'm just confusing myself. Now I'm going to try a new one and I'm logged in as Laura. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that again. Policy demo. Gotta love troubleshooting, right? Whenever the workflow doesn't run, look at who you're logged in as. That's the moral of that one. All right, another fun test. Okay, that's what I'm going to call it, and then it should just save. Fun test. And again, try and get your users to get used to tagging things in here. When they save things, just put keywords. Come on, I see that there are 21 of you out there. Nobody has any questions? Okay, look at that. What a concept, right? So this other column is from a different workflow that I have that's associated with a different content type in this library. So that doesn't, it's in there as a column, but it doesn't apply to what I'm doing in this, for this workflow. So you can have different, again, you can have different workflows running automatically on different content types. All right, so now I can see that it's in progress, and I can go ahead and I'll go ahead and open this up. Look at that, see? Like I said, it sees who I am, and it knows that it's waiting for me, Laura Rogers, my signature. I don't want to hit Edit Document, so that's part of the training thing. But I do want to click Open this task, and I want to click the Sign button, and when I do that, again, it's all tightly integrated with Word, and that's where I get prompted to go select my image, and I'm not sure what this commitment type is tied to or what it has anything to do with or where you see it later, but I guess it's just, you know, additional metadata type of information. And then click Sign. And then it tells me, you know, basically, remember, don't edit the document. Once people start signing it, don't edit it. So then I can see my signature in there. And then I would close it, and the next person would go do their thing. So the next person is going to be, let's go see who that is. Shane Young. So I am going to open up a different browser, and I'm going to log into this SharePoint site as Shane Young, and I want to show you something important to know. Let's see. Let me go get this site pulled up. Okay, so now I'm logged into the browser as Shane, and he has a task assigned to him. So let's go see that. So he can see that he's got a task. Again, like I told you, if the person directly opens up the task, it will allow them to click the sign button and not without even opening the document, and then the workflow would be, it would just move on. So that's one of those little buggy things in there. So Shane's going to go just open up the policy like this. Yeah, sure. But notice what it does is that I'm logged into SharePoint in the browser as that user, but guess what? When I authenticated in Word, you know how sometimes Word prompts you for your SharePoint authentication? I have my SharePoint site. This is a browser setting, so I have my SharePoint site set in as a trusted site so that it doesn't prompt me, so it just uses my existing credentials to log into SharePoint. Well, I'm logged into SharePoint still as me, so it is not, even though I logged into the browser as Shane, I'm still logged onto my computer, and my browser sees me logged on as Laura. So when I click View Signatures like this, and I go to sign something, it doesn't know, like Word here doesn't think that I'm Shane. So Firefox thinks that I'm Shane. Okay, so I'll just say, I can just type his name. And then again, it's got my user. You can't fake this stuff. All right, so then, yeah, I get that message again. Don't edit the file. All right, and then the other person would need to go sign it too. And I can see my signature setup. It shows me additional information in there. And then this is going to be like, cool other person. Okay, so now the whole thing, the document is signed and it's done, and when I go look at here, it says signed document, and it says it's been marked as final. So mark as final is one of those options that's always in there inside of Word, but it's just one of those things that's with this integration with Word and SharePoint, it's all tied together and it goes ahead and marks it as final for you. Okay, so let's go see if the workflow finished. It didn't, because guess what? Remember, since I'm logged in as me and I'm doing all these weird funky things as trying to complete tasks as different people, it doesn't understand that. So again, if you run the workflow and each person that is signing the document is logged in, to their computer and to SharePoint as them, and they're opening the document and it prompts them, it tells them that they have a task assigned to them, it all works fine. But when you're trying to do this thing where you're like logged in as a different person and you're doing tasks for other people, then that's when it's going to start to get clunky. Dan says, let's see, select this. Dan says, are you required to have a certificate installed on a local machine in order to sign documents? That's a great question, Dan. So what I've noticed in here is I did not do anything special to have having to do with certificates, to have, oh, Ryan, look at that, to have it do anything, to have it let me go in there and sign that. So it's automatically going to have the one that said the name of my login name that I'm logged into my computer as. Every time I've ever used this collect signatures workflow, it's always just by default had the name of my logged in user in there, and I've never had to do anything extra with certificates. But as you can see, it gives you the option if you had other certificates you wanted to use. If your users knew how to do that, then it would let you do that. Does that help? But by default, you don't have to do anything special to make it, know who you are logged into your computer. So now my workflow is completed there. So let's go see what happens when I edit it. Okay. No, I'm still in Firefox. And I'll go ahead and show you all that setting that that is inside of the browser that that allows me to not have to authenticate to SharePoint every time I open a document that's in SharePoint, because that seems to be a pretty common question too. I'm going to go edit the document and look what happened. So now I edited the document. Still says it contains valid signatures because I haven't saved any changes or anything, but stuff changed. I want to watch it get rid of the signatures. Saving changes will remove all signatures. Yeah, sure. Look at that, they all turned red. Cool. All right, so now the signatures have been invalidated. Again, I don't have to run the workflow to go do the signatures, but it just helps people know when it's their turn. All you really have to have is to be able to click insert and then stick the signatures in there. I mean, you could click insert and you could stick the signatures in there, and then you could email the thing around if you wanted to. You don't even have to have SharePoint involved at all, but the workflow is what makes it have the automated emails and the tasks and stuff. So look at that. Since I edited the file, it's got all these things that say invalid signature. The signed content or the signature has been modified. Contact the signer to re-sign the document. Ooh, man, they are not messing around. So I can say remove signature, and I can go remove all those, or I can go click sign again. That. Oh, a couple more questions. Cool.
I was going to make a comment too, actually.
Okay. Sure.
When you were signing the document, you're having problems signing it as Shane. I wonder, did you try signing into Word as Shane and signing it that way?
That's exactly what I was saying. That I automatically have on my computer, I have it set up so that's not going to prompt me for authentication to SharePoint. It's automatically going to log me in as Laura. And log me in. I already have it logging me into this RTM site as Laura. But if I didn't have that setting in the browser and it had prompted me to log in, put my SharePoint login information when I open Word, then I could have logged in as Shane in Word, and then it would have.
You can still change it by going to like the top right-hand corner and signing in.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Exactly.
That was all.
Oh, okay, cool. And then also, it still would have. It's when I signed the signature and it had like my name, LAUR4694. It had my name in there. That is not going to change though. That is who I am logged into my computer as, and there's no way to fake that and go unless I actually logged out of my computer and logged in as a different user. That's what would change that particular setting in there. But yeah, let's go. We could go try what Tavis said in a second. Let me see these other questions. Can you sign using Office Online, or do you need Word installed? I believe you need Word installed, but we can test that. Paul says, can you use quick parts in PowerPoint? No, quick parts are only for Word. At least that I've ever seen. Joelle, do you know any differently than that? I think you're muted if you're talking. Okay, so here's my Office 365 site. So he's asking about. Go ahead.
I was just checking when.
Okay. What? Yeah. What? Every time I open my Office 365 site, it goes away. No, I don't want my Yammer feed. Go away, Yammer. Okay. All right, so I was going to test if it would work in Word Online. So what I can do is I can go open up Word on my computer, and I can just open up a blank document, test. I doubt this works in Word Online, but we're just going to test it real quick. I'll click Insert, Signature Line, Tester 1, and then File, and I'll just save it real quick. Save it to my desktop. Okay, so I put a signature in there and I saved it to my desktop. Now I can go over to my Office 365 site. I don't have Office web apps installed in my little test environment. So I can go, good grief, stop it. Test stuff. Put it in here, and then I'll just go and try and open it in Office web apps. It looks like I've got some metadata in my library in here. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, so it shows me the signature field, but it doesn't, let's see, edit in Word Online. But in Word, it doesn't want you editing it. You're not supposed to be in edit mode to be able to sign it. So yeah, that's where it's basically taking me to a whole website saying what the options are, that my functionality is limited. So I believe that validates that the answer is no. No, you can't sign. You could see signatures in, it looks like it in online, but you can't actually interact with it and sign it just in the browser. What was the other question I was gonna? Let me see. Let me go look at the questions. Answered questions. Oh, I was gonna do the thing that Tavis was talking about. First of all, let me show you guys what browser setting that I'm talking about that allows me to not ever have to authenticate to SharePoint when I open a document. So if you're at work and you're on your intranet and your SharePoint is on the intranet, then you would be using your local intranet zone in here in IE. But I just do this with a lot of trusted sites, with just SharePoint sites that I work with a lot and stuff like that. And I'll go put my site in that list of trusted sites. And then here's the trick. You go to custom level down here, automatic login with current username and password. So I know it's a browser setting, but it's still, that's what will pass your credentials through, you know, when you're opening files in SharePoint or going to SharePoint sites. I never have to log into SharePoint because I just use this for all the SharePoint sites I use, and I log in once and then it just keeps, you know, keeps my information. So hopefully that's helpful.
You can do that with Credentials Manager too. I use a lot.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and you can do that through group policy as well. So if you are a server admin and you have control over group policy, that's something that you can set in people's zones so that everybody at work will not hate SharePoint because they have to authenticate over and over. It will just be part of their, you know, the custom level here will automatically log them in with current username and password. So that's also a great thing having to do with user adoption because people end up hating SharePoint if they have to keep authenticating to it. So what Tavis was talking about with that document, I've got 3 minutes. Any other? Oh, okay. Let's see. Let me read Christian's question here. I'm somewhat new to SharePoint. Strange workflow question. Is there a way to have your workflow against an entire library or list to send email reminders to make updates if their items are more than X number of days old? That is a great question, Christian. So what you can do is if you have the enterprise version of SharePoint, you can use an information management policy for that. So what you would do is you would create a very simple workflow that sends, you would define what the email is going to say, and you would have a workflow that just all it does is send that email. But then what you're doing with an information management policy is you're defining when to go ahead and send that email. So what I would do, like for this one, if I wanted them to get this email reminder to make updates after, you know, 60 days, 90 days or something like that. So what I do is I say define a policy here, and then I say enable retention, and that's where all the magic happens. When I add a retention stage, this is where I can say, so the last time, if it was modified plus, you know, 90 days or whatever, then do what? So that's why I said to, you know, create the workflow ahead of time, because you would say after 90 days, after it's been modified, start what workflow, and then all the different workflows. It has to be a 2010 workflow, not 2013 for some reason, and you have to make it so that it's allowed to be manually triggered for it to show in this list. But all your workflows will show in this list, and then that's where you can just click OK. And then your information management policy runs at midnight. It will send all the emails it needs to send. So yeah, that's where that is. Information management policies, for some reason, by default, are the timer job on the server is only set to run weekly, which is stupid. So I would go in the server and change your timer job to run daily instead, every day at midnight, so that you don't have to wait till the next weekend or whatever for it to finally send that email out once it hits 90 days. But document information management policies are the answer to that. Carlos says Microsoft is retiring tags on SharePoint Online. Tags as in keywords, metadata? What do you mean tag? Oh, tags. Oh, that thing that nobody ever uses. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So tags is going to be this thing. I don't even know where it is now. Oh, page, tags and notes. Yep, they're retiring tags and notes, which is fine with me because it was very clunky and never really integrated with anything. So, okay, cool, awesome questions, guys. Thanks a lot. Next week, I think Joelle's doing something. Joelle, I guess you can let me know later, or if you have anything you want to say about it now.
No, because I have no idea what I'm doing yet.
Okay, let me go ahead and stop sharing. Okay, there I am with my double horns. All right, thanks everybody for coming to SharePoint Power Hour. Again, same time, same place next week at Wednesday at 11 Central, and we're going to be demoing something. And you can always go to the YouTube channel, YouTube SharePoint RAX, to see all of our past Power Hours and to see the upcoming ones as well. Thanks everybody. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.